Well, a very good morning on this January 3rd, the day after New Year's. We are fortunate to have back with us once again for the first of the month, Reverend Donna Smith, who gave the sermon this week titled The Whitestone Ceremony. So thank you, Donna, for being with us.
You're welcome.
And JC wanted to go first, and there we go. I've just asked you to unmute. Probably should have done that before. There you go.
Well, I took notes like mad, Donna, and I realized I'm really glad that we can hear this sermon over and over and over again so that we can actually let it sink in how you do this. I know that I've had white stones before. The one I use today, I got last year, and all I could put on it was a heart. And so I've put other things on it this time because I'm more aware now, but that awareness hasn't necessarily always been with me after this white stone ceremony. So I'm so glad that we can all tap into it whenever we need to. And you were very, very clear in giving the information that you gave. And I'm also aware for myself that I have read Hawkins and the other two authors that you mentioned. And I'm going to find their books and I'm going to put them in a place where I can say, you know this stuff, now do it.
Yeah, I think that's a big challenge for us. And in fact, it is the learning process is, yes, we can say, okay, I know that. That makes sense to me in my life. But then doing it sometimes is a little difficult because we allow the world to influence us. So there's that process of blocking the world out and being true to yourself. And, you know, that's the process. And it's really a fun process. And as you go along that process, make sure that you appreciate yourself for being in the process, appreciate what you have done, appreciate what you're going to be doing, and never, look at yourself as, oh, I'm not learning, I can't get this. That's very counterproductive. So it's a life's journey, and I love the process of this journey. It's wonderful. Thank you, JC.
Yes.
Yeah. And to pick up on that, and tell me what you think of this, because this is something that I kind of inferred from the talk. I was thinking back to, I think it was a Jordan Peterson talk where he was saying that the goal shouldn't be in the goal of self-improvement, that the goal shouldn't be to compare yourself to somebody else, that the goal is to compare yourself to who you were previously. Right. And even a 1% improvement can build up enormously over time. Right. So like, let's say you can improve your life 1% every month, in some facet of your life. Well, in 1 year, your life is 12% better.
Yeah.
Right. What if you could do 1% a week? Right. And if you 1% a day, how do you feel about that?
I think that's a wonderful idea. And in fact, a friend of mine at one of the counseling sessions I did said, instead of writing her to-do list, she writes a list, what I have done today.
Good.
And that follows on that. What did you do today? And, pat yourself on the back and say, yes, I did that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And instead of looking at, oh my gosh, I have all this to do and I didn't do it or whatever, to-do lists are kind of dangerous sometimes. So yeah, I agree with what he said. Yes, I think that's a wonderful focused way to do it. Put your intention out there.
Cool. Yeah, Lilene.
Donna, you said something that I know I've heard before, but it just started resonating and bouncing around in my head, which surprised me because what you said that was bouncing around was the heart rules wisdom.
Would you repeat that? I didn't hear you quite.
Heart rules wisdom. before that, you had been talking about the thought and the mind, well, the mind, i.e. being the brain and our thought processes and reality. And then you were talking about the heart and that being our feeling process and, you know,
Yes.
ruling the emotions. And then at the end of that, just that one little line you put out, which was the heart rules wisdom.
The heart is the center of wisdom. And if you, well, in the heart math research, what they have found is the heart has its own brain, same, you know, neurons as the brain itself has. And they have shown that the heart will disregard the brain and do its own thing if it knows it's better for you. And so that's kind of where I was going with that.
It's the clearest this is to this that I think I have ever heard about that whole aspect of wisdom. And certainly as we age, you know, a lot of us have had conversations with each other in different ways, different settings about being wiser, being older, being this. But that's going somewhere on this wall really long. Heart rules wisdom.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, yes.
Great. Oh, hey, it looks like Connie's trying to join us. I hope she's able to.
Yeah. Oh, and
Uh,
Sharon's here. Yay.
Yes, yes. Oops, sorry about that. I asked you to unmute when I was trying to mute you. Okay, who wants to go next? Okay. Oh, Anne. All right. I've asked you to unmute.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Did you work? Good.
Yeah.
There was so much in that, and a lot of it for me was reminders of things that really grabbed me in ministerial school. And you just brought me back there to some of the real basics of how to do it just daily, just getting through, you know. And one of the things earlier that JC was saying about how to do it, well, practice. And that's where spiritual practice comes from. That's all we can do is practice. You miss a day, pick it up the next day, practice, practice, practice. But one of the things that really got me going yesterday was when you started talking math, Donna. That just cracked me up. And I was one step ahead of you and came up with a whole different mathematical formula for what you were doing with the square root of 1% of the world's population. And I went a different way. I said, what is 1% of 100 people? And that's 1. And what's the square root of 1? 1. So any one of us, therefore, should be able to influence a group of 100 by our meditating, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
So there's the power of 1. That was amazing. I thought that's what you were going to say, and you said something else. I'm going, wait, there's another mathematical formula here. That's getting science and faith working together, you know? So,
Yes.
but
Yes.
taking it back down to practice is really what I got. And go back to, don't forget every day to remember there's divinity in you. That's how you
I
got it.
clean them. No.
Do I hear someone else?
Yeah, there's a little bit of noise coming in. Yeah.
That's okay. That was my comment. And
Yeah.
thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Anne. Yes. One is one is one. We only have, you know, we can only have a person. And that's why I was
Right.
talking about, you know, that's why I rounded that 0.01 up to 1.
Right. But 1 is good enough. Just one
It
person.
is.
That's how 1 can make a difference.
Absolutely, because it does emit out into the world, your
Right.
consciousness. So you're very, very powerful.
Yep.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Anne.
I don't think that we should ever overlook the
No.
power of setting a good example. You know, at the very least. John, did your hand go up? I couldn't tell. No. Okay. All right. Well, hey, the other thing that I was The other thing that I was noticing, and this kind of piggybacks off of Anne's a little bit, um, is that no one can save you but you, right? People can help you, people can influence you, but fundamentally your salvation, I guess, is your own.
We are 100% responsible for ourselves.
Right.
And a lot of pain and suffering and misery comes when we think somebody else is responsible for us.
Right. Yeah.
And I take that down to even family members. Even family members are not responsible for you. Now, I know that when you have a child, you are responsible for that child until they're old enough to understand these kind of things. But whatever you do in your life is based on the choices that you make in every moment. What has happened is we make these choices unaware that we're doing it. And as a result, we tend to think somebody else is the cause of whatever it is that we are suffering. And that's not true. And a lot of people will argue with you up and down, no, that person did this to me and whatever. But if you can at least maybe think about this, you chose that particular experience before it happened. And most of the time we're unaware of that for whatever reason. It could have been a soul decision. It could be anything. And that is a very difficult concept, I guess, for people to put wrap their heads and their hearts around too, because we have become very good at projecting onto others. And that is because in our own hearts, we just can't stand the thought that it's our fault. It has to be somebody else's. And so that's what has happened. And as soon as you can understand that you are the creator and that your choices really do matter, and you become more aware of your choices, your life will change. You will not be making these unaware choices that cause pain and suffering. You will be making informed choices based on your awareness. Your whole life will change. It will change, and you will be in control of it.
I don't know if anybody else is kind of perked up by that, but because certainly I think you would agree that maliciousness exists in the world. There are people who seek to do harm to other people, right?
Yes.
And so, and because I want to understand you correctly, are you saying that by engaging with those people, you're on some level inviting the maliciousness that comes with them?
Yes.
Okay.
I know, that's a biggie. Yes. And yes, we could go into a big discussion on that one, but at some level, and it's usually an unconscious one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't see any hands going up, so we might. Oh, okay.
Maybe
Joanne.
there's no comment.
Yeah, Joanne's come to rescue us.
That's only because I love you, Michael.
Yeah, and right back at you.
So I have three things here. Every day I have a steno pad. It's similar to Mars' steno pad. And when I took shorthand in school, I have learned to love these little pads. And one of them is everything I'm going to complete every day, which never gets done. And the other, and I have little stickies all around the house, which ones I'm going to complete today. They never get done. So I have reverted to the other steno pad, what I do complete every day. I don't write in it every day because I forget, but when I do, it enriches my life because I'm alone, like many of us are. We don't go out. And I say, oh, I did this, this, and this. Hooray. And my cat's happy because I washed the sheets yesterday. So that went on the walk. So moving on. Yesterday, for 2 days, I've had trouble with my computer. So I had the delight and pleasure of HP Tech Support. And the gentleman and I who were speaking, he was in India and I was here. And we were talking about life as we were waiting for the computer to catch up with us. And we both agreed that we take the first step. And unless we take, as you've said, the first step, nothing's going to happen. It's going to continue the old miserable life that I do blame people for. And it was just a delight to know here I am here and this gentleman's in India and we can still have the same sort of discussion. And it was really, really nice. And the very last thing I know, and if you would have told me this 20 years ago, I would have thought, but of course, 20 years ago, I thought you all were the woo-woo people. So
I still am.
I like being one too. So, but I truly know and I believe, and it's a reality for me, even though I'm not happy with it sometimes, that I chose this world and this life prior to coming here to learn and grow. So that's me, kids. Now somebody else has to do this, Michael.
Yeah, that was Herculean. Thank you, Joanne. Did you
And I
want to?
just wanted, yeah, I just wanted to add, you know, to what we were talking about, that if we really truly do create our experiences with our thoughts, and this is what I do not even think about bringing negative things into my life, like somebody breaking into my house and stealing all my stuff. That is not in my thought system, because my thought system is that everything around me is safe. So I use that energy, and I don't even think about negative things. And I don't have negative things that come into my life. I did before because I didn't understand the process. And now when I do think these negative things, it has become a practice for me to think, okay, so how can I turn this around as a positive thing? This is interesting. Last night, I had a dream and I woke up and I remembered it. Trump was going around to people's homes and talking to individual people or families, you know, in their homes. I walked into the kitchen from my living room. This is in my dream. There is Trump standing there. I have no idea how he even got into my house, but he's standing there. And I go, whoa. You know? Anyway, he starts talking to me in actually very nice terms. I don't know how to, you know, and I was thinking to myself, okay, I need to look at this person as a child of God. That's the term I use. And he started talking some very amenable, life-enhancing, you know, conversation. I created that in my dream because that's what I wanted in my dream. So you can imagine how you can create that outside of yourself by just knowing, intending, and believing. Actually, knowing is a better term for that, but just knowing that you're safe and that your life is going to be filled with what you want. You know, I can't begin to tell you how it's changed my life. I do not worry about any of that stuff because I'm not bringing it into my life. And so that's another step in that power that I was talking about. You have the power to do that. And so I just wanted to add that on.
Yeah, Donna, I just hear, Donna, I have the best spirit. Everybody says so. You could ask anybody about my spirit. Oh, anyway, I can't do the best Trump impression.
Yeah. Well, he was different in my dream because I wanted him to be different.
Well, and JC's hand just went up, but real quick, was that a gradual process, or can you narrow the process down of excluding negativity from your life, you know, to an event, or, you know, can just speak for a second on that?
Definitely was a process, because I remember as I was studying all these concepts, and, you know, I had a hard time with even the concept of oneness. And things happened to I guess, substantiate, yes, things are one. And so as I went along and these things became substantiated, experienced, etc., then it developed into a knowing for me. I wasn't like Eckhart Tolle, sat on a bench and all of a sudden, boom, I'm enlightened. No, and I'm still on that. I want to take that back. We're all enlightened. It's an awareness of our enlightenment. That's what I want to say. But it's a process. But as I go along and these things happen that support these new beliefs that I have, it just becomes so ingrained that after a while, you don't even think about it. You just live your life. I live my life in a very positive way. If things are happening, they're happening outside of me, they're happening for a reason, and I accept them. But as I've lived this life and really put my attention on these new concepts that I've been learning, I realize it works. It truly works. And when you know that, then you just rest into I want to call it an inner peace, because you know you're always going to be taken care of. You are always safe. And no matter what happens, So that to me is, I guess, the greatest gift of all, just have that inner peace. And so I do. And I don't call these things to myself. I don't, I call other things to myself, and they come. I wanted a French press coffee pot after I'd been on a vacation. So I came home, and the very day I came home, Kathy gave me one.
Wow.
Out of the blue.
Okay.
That's what happens. I mean, I hadn't even asked for it yet, and it was given to me. That's the process. And that's just a very small example. But that is the process. That is what happens. Yeah.
Great. Go ahead, JC. And okay, so Laleen, did you, it says JC Laleen. Did you want to go after JC?
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Is it okay if Martha goes after? Because we haven't heard from her yet. Okay.
Okay, I'm really getting this idea, Donna, that I decide how I set things up in my life. I'm working on that. And this is my report from the comics, Sunday morning comics. Okay, I have started reading this unicorn one, which I have avoided for years. I don't even know when it started. But this little girl in this one is practicing being afraid in order for her to learn how she does I'm afraid. So she does things like go, ah! And he says, what? I'm being afraid of shoes today. Okay, she knows she's not afraid of shoes, but she's listening to herself. How does she be when she decides to be afraid of shoes or whatever? The unicorn decided to be afraid of trees. Well, and it looks silly. It sounds silly, but the point is she knows she's not afraid of shoes. So whatever's going on in her just is her way to do fear. And as she becomes clearer on that, okay, got it? So the other thing is the comment, you made a comment about a practice. Whatever we do every day is our practice.
Yep.
And for me, sometimes that's really stupid because I'm practicing things I don't actually believe.
Yeah, and I think the point there is you're right. Every moment we're practicing, but are we aware of what we're practicing? That's the
Right.
point. Yeah. Yes, and the fear thing is really, fear is where we all, will experience fear at times. And the process I use is, why am I feeling this? What is it, and then that will send you down the path of, just thinking about it, what it is. And most of the time, it's based on, little molehills, and we make mountains out of things that are really just little molehills, or things that never occur, but we have the fear they will. And yeah, so fear's okay, just look at it. That's all it is. Something to look at, process. Thanks, JC.
Go ahead, Martha.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the brain versus the heart. For much of my life, my focus was on how my brain was functioning, and I tried to reason myself out of everything without feeling my gut and ignoring the heart center and all those kinds of things. And one of the things that has happened since I've become a Unitarian, not only I came to the church came to the faith because of the level of ideas and the tossing around of ideas which appealed to my intellect. But then the more I got to know other people that practice other ways of doing that, whether that would be the Buddhist or, you know, where I'm going with this, to get me beyond just using my head. And of course, the fact that I've always been moved by music. And those, I mean, I can get an emotional reaction to music that is much more powerful than to something intellectual. And so I was reading the UU World here, which was the one that we got last. We're only going to get it twice a year now. It's not going to come out 4 times. And I was reading the article on that lovely young man from Ann Arbor, the minister. Rideout is his last name. He did some music for Dennis, one of those. Anyway, he wrote something that he said, you know, we need to get to the spirit through music. And a lot of people cannot, I know that I get moved by music, and everybody has noticed that that happens to me. I become totally engrossed, and I know my heart is reacting to the emotion of the music. And what he was saying was how important that aspect is to our life and in our worship, and to be inclusive so that we all can participate. Because a lot of people only seem to relate to concepts and ideas, and they resist the heart center. And that's just a thought that I'd like to throw out, a way of maybe engaging other people. I realize that we were talking about an intellectual concept of the heart. I guess that's what I'm saying. But I really, really would like to continue to move towards more and more involvement with music, to involve people in worship, and how it does move you here. And this is much more powerful than this.
Yeah, in the physical world, of course, we need our brains, because there's, you know, a lot of logical things that we just
Absolutely.
need to understand and use, because we are physical humans. And so we do need that. It's not like we're going to go to the heart and forget the brain. That's not possible. This is a union. That's why we call it heart-brain coherence, because when you're in coherence, you have the wisdom of the heart and, you know, the logical of the brain that work together wherever you are in that moment. And it's interesting you brought up music, because I'm bringing a lot of sound into my Reiki sessions, and I'm studying Jonathan Goldman and the importance of sound in our lives is amazing, because the universe is sound, it's a vibration. And even if you can't hear something, it is giving off a sound. And sound, I'm using tuning forks. Those tuning forks, I'm using actually right now, well, the chakra ones, but the Pythagorean tuning forks of C and G together, I use because they enter your ear and then go into your brain and create balance, and it improves your immune system, and it is extremely healing, because we are sound too. It's like this sound helps bring back the dissonance that we've created in our body. And so sound is important, and music, oh my gosh. just like you were saying, Martha, there's this one song from Enya. It's just an instrumental. Sometimes when I'm feeling a blue and I just, I want to get out of that, I will put that on because it makes me cry. As soon as I finish crying, I am back and I'm ready. But that's the power that one song has for me. It's kind of like it just helps me process whatever that is and, and let it go. And then there's those songs I put on so I can clean my house. They're not really soft ones. They're upbeat, ABBA, blah, 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 just so I can keep the energy going. So, the music is just, I don't know where we would be without music. I can't even begin to imagine. I know how much Michael appreciates that because that's his life work, his life's work. So music is so powerful. And it can also maybe create dissonance in your body too, the kinds of music too. So, you need to be aware of that. But yeah. Sound is very important.
For anybody who's interested, Martha referenced Dr. Rideout's music, and the guy is awesome. He is so cool. I posted one of his songs to the chat, so if you feel like it, you can click on that after we're done. Laleen wanted to talk.
Go to Glennis, please. I would like to change the subject, so just come back to me.
Okay, you got it. Yeah, okay, go. Where'd Glennis go? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Well, I do want to carry on a little bit about the music, and that it's something that I have observed as a musician, and I've played with other people for many years. You can tell the difference from someone who's playing from their heart from someone who's playing from their head. And the heart players, they don't have to be so proficient and virtuosity or anything like that. They're playing from the heart and you can feel it. And that's what I appreciate about playing music with people. Yeah. The other thing is that I learned this last year, a lot about intention. When I needed to look for a place to live, I looked, but I had a specific idea of what I wanted in mind. And I'll be darned if I didn't find the exact place the exact house that I wanted. And so I had no idea. Not only did it work like that, but it was specific. And so I imagine if you're specific on your intention, that you'll get closer to what you're looking for. I don't know. Maybe
I think you should be very, very specific.
Yeah.
Yes. I asked for a place when I was moving from Roseburg to Sutherland. I wanted to be around really beautiful people and I wanted gardens. So I moved next door to Kathy and Greg Zorn, beautiful people, and this beautiful garden in front and into the sides of my house that was already there. It's gorgeous in the summer. Yeah, be very specific.
Yeah.
And by vacating that house, you allowed one poor musician to be able to move into it. So, yes. And for the record, Glennis is always somebody who plays from the heart. So
yes,
that's
thank you.
Great bass player. And I think,
thank you, Glennis.
Yeah. Laleen wants to change the subject.
In your conversation, Donnie, you were talking about the congruence of Saturn and Jupiter in the age of Aquarius coming. And that is the upcoming first major AEO with Michelle Levante.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if you could just say a little bit more about what you have been discussing in terms of heart, mind, and age of Aquarius, and how you see that. And I guess I have another ask. When you do Donna's Corner, if you're talking about that, would you make mention of Michelle Levante's workshop? Because I think a lot of people don't understand quite what that is, but if they put it in connection with some of the things that you're talking about, it may make a lot more clarity for them.
Well, I'm certainly not an astrologer. And, the information I got about this conjunction and that it is moving us more into the heart-based, community-based was very exciting to me. And if you want detail, yes, join Michelle at her AEO session, which is when?
Oh, the 13th.
The
Wednesday,
13th.
The 13th.
On the 13th. She's my dear friend, and I have absolutely totally been amazed at her expertise in this area. She is so knowledgeable, and she can, yeah. So you need to join her to get the specifics, because I really don't have specifics about it. I generalized it because that's about where I am on it, but I do have faith in it. And I know that during this time, I just listened to a talk by Patricia Cota Robles. If you know her, she's a very special spiritual teacher of our times. And she has indicated that because of this happening, this conjunction, that there has been a huge kind of like a infusion of light into humanity and the world, where actually, where are my notes? Yeah, that are helping make these fundamental changes at the grassroots places, which is where the, fundamental changes begin in the first place. And so this light is helping that. But she also said that this light, because of this conjunction and all of this that's happening, and again, I don't understand that totally, but the fact is that it is helping us flood our egos with love to the point where our egos are no longer in control, our hearts are in control. And this is all based on all of those legions, and I mean legions of light beings are helping us. And in fact, she said that the babies that are born now, the beings that are coming into this earthly life, most of them are coming as old souls to help us, and not coming in to I guess, work out their karmic issues. They're not coming in for that reason. They're coming in to help us. And so this is just a huge, huge effort on the part of our divine, who is trying to help us get out of this mess we've created. And we truly have created it ourselves. But the point is, with our egos not being in control, because we are, whether we are aware of it or not, we are receiving this light. And they can't tell us what to do. We have to ask them to help us. And a lot of people are asking because of our free will. But with that atmosphere around us, I just feel like it's going to be so much easier for people to start choosing their hearts and going beyond their egos. So we're getting a lot of help in that area. And she also mentioned that Archangel Michael is the one who has encapsulated our egos in love to help us let go of that control and move into our hearts and our wisdom. So, she's really in tune with the spiritual aspects of life. And I like her work very much. So this was a conversation through Humanity's team. And, it was very, very encouraging. Very encouraging. So anyway, that's what I wanted to.
Thank you. And if we want to look at history, we've been through a really dark period. And previously, when we went through a really dark period, just to get a really pop version of it, if you can find on YouTube, or maybe Michael, you can help me out, that song that was really popular called the Age of Aquarius.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
The fifth
I don't
dimension.
remember who did it. Do you remember who did it?
The fifth dimension.
Anyway, if you can find that, just go listen to it.
Yeah.
And of course, it's history. It was when we were coming out of another dark period, but it gives you a little bit of an idea of what the Age of Aquarius and that conjunction, does bring together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the song is from the musical Hair, but it was made popular by the Fifth Dimension band, I guess you could say, in the 70s. And for anybody, she's not here, but for anybody who's listening or watching and wants kind of a taste of what Michelle Avanti talks about, her talk is still up on the Facebook page. And as of like a week ago, people were still watching it. So there is something very cool about that lady. So
Yes.
yeah.
What talk is that that's still up? Did you say the one she gave last time, you mean?
It was the sermon that she did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while back, right?
It was like from the start of the lockdown. Martha's trying to say something.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. She'll be
Yeah.
back with us as soon as I could get a message out to the Sunday Services
Yeah.
Committee, because she has committed to doing another sermon.
Oh,
Good,
great.
great.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was saying was that that was our last, that was her first sermon, and it was our first one that we did remote.
Mhm.
And that, I believe, was the 8th of March of
Yeah.
last year.
Mhm.
And that was
Yeah.
the first it was the 15th, I beg your pardon, because Dennis had spoken the week before, and he was the last person that spoke to a live audience in our church. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was our first one that we did with an iPhone, and that and that was it.
Yeah. And if you've ever met one of those people that's like instantaneously you're good friends with them, Michelle's kind of like one of those people. Go ahead. Lucy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. She walked into my office at Unity.
Yeah.
The moment she was selling her book, she was trying to promote her book. The moment I saw her, I said, "Oh my God, I love this person." And
Yeah.
yes, I do.
Mhm.
If you really want to be blown away, also just go on her art page. I'm hoping that we can get her hanging at the UU when we
Cool.
reopen, but she has a body of artwork that is truly spiritually amazing.
Exactly.
Awesome. Lucy had a hand up.
When you were talking about Michelle's, I thought you were referring to the very, very, very first remote service we did, and that was me with my phone standing about 2 feet from her.
Right.
Yeah, we've come quite a ways.
Yeah.
As far as Michelle, yeah, she's magic. She's just a very special person,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. So Donna, so one thing about your talk, moving back to the talk, that was again interesting to me, as maybe for somebody who's more of a lay person when it comes to things like heart frequency, or it's hard for me to put it into context, because there's a lot of language in the metaphysical churches that we don't use outside of the metaphysical churches. So when you're talking about vibrating at X, right, is there any way that you can give kind of like the super easiest rundown possible for somebody who doesn't understand these things?
The vibration is vibration is the movement, and the way they measure it is through hertz. And I'm not an expert on this, Michael. However,
No problem.
However, hertz is very important into the rate of the vibration, because if your vibration is at a lower rate, then things will seem more solid. Just like we're not solid, we really aren't, but our vibration is at such a lower, and that's not a judgment. It's just at a lower rate, so we appear to be solid. And so as you are increasing your vibration, your hertz, then you are probably going to start appearing less solid, as you go up. And so that's why when they are measuring the Earth's vibration, it has been 7.8 hertz for a millennium. It's just been that rate. And we all know that Earth, of course, appears very solid. But now they know that through the Schumann resonance scale, that the Earth is more now around 6.5 as an average, and that it shoots up, and it spikes when we do these things on Earth. Like I was saying about that email, when we did the peace meditation, when millions of people were holding that intention, and that resonance shot up, and the light on the Earth was greater. And it was I guess it was a process that was affecting all of us in our hearts and everything else, because we are part of that on the Earth. So if that's happening on the Earth, it's happening within us. And how you're going to experience that, I don't know. And it's probably an individual thing based on your beliefs and all kinds of things. However, it did affect you, whether you like it or not, or whether you know it or not. But that's how those kind of things are measured. And the higher the hertz, the more you're moving into those higher consciousness levels. And that's why they recommend that you listen to music that has a very soothing level of measurement in hertz. And I can't bring to my mind right now what that is. 358 or something like that. Anyway, it's not there. But you can go and Google that and get information on that.
Okay.
Because there are some music that is very destructive.
Well, that's certainly what Plato thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's about all I know about that,
Okay.
Michael.
Okay, no, and no, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It's just that
That's
something.
okay.
Oh, it looks like there. Okay, so we got some people who want to chime in. We'll do Martha then Anne. But real quick, just so you know, if we're talking about hertz is, and by the way, I laughed while you were talking, Donna, not because anything you said was funny, because Lucy, I'm scolding you, wrote in the chat, I have a lot of hertz, HURTS, so it must be good. But music, if music has harmony, it's going to have a lot of variations of vibrational sound. So hertz is just how many times a waveform vibrates per second. So
Exactly.
440 vibrations per second is A above middle C on the piano, right? So if you were to listen to like Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, it's going to have anywhere from like 50 hertz to probably into the thousands of hertz in a single piece of music. So
Exactly.
it would be interesting to get more into this, because it is something in between like your sermons and Bonnie and Andy's sermons that comes up often. And for those of us who don't follow that type of literature, it's fascinating to me, but I don't want to monopolize the time. Martha, go ahead, and then we'll have.
I knew from physics, basic physics, that hertz is a measurement of frequency equal to 1 cycle per second. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah.
Which you explained.
Yeah.
But if you understand that basic, that's the building block of that concept. So that's all I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm just in the process of learning from reading Jonathan Goldman about harmonics and all of that and how it works together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And Anne had something to chime in.
As you were discussing that, I was hit by the words vibrations and vibrancy. And that if something is in our language, when something is vibrant, I think we tend to relate that to a greater vibration or higher vibration. And the picture I got was listening or seeing music affect plants as they grow, or affecting some kind of a life form. And so I think it's both a vibration that we are subject to, but also vibration that we are also putting out. It's definitely a two-way thing.
Okay.
or an always
And
in.
I just wanted to share with you about following with what Anne said, that I had a friend one time who had people over, and she had these beautiful plants, and they were asking her how she did, and she said, well, I love them. I talk to them. I do this. And the man thought that was ridiculous. And when he left that night, there was a plant by the door, and he just spewed all this horrible language on this plant, laughing like, and that plant died.
Oh,
That plant died because of that, so this is how powerful we are, in both ways,
mm.
So, yeah.
I used to do bonsai, and I can tell you that I loved those trees very much. So, so we're winding down, but there's a couple of people. Oh, okay, Sharon. There's a couple of people who haven't spoken, so maybe we can get rapid fire a few people in. Go ahead, Sharon. I asked you to unmute. Oh, looks like. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Changing the subject slightly.
Okay.
I have a well-used white stone. It's got 2019, 2020, and I added 2021 today. But I would like to give an update that 2020 intention manifested.
Oh, yay, good. Woo, I love it.
And I hadn't realized it until I got my white rock out that I carry around with me.
That's great.
So I wanted to tell you, it works.
Thank you, Sharon. I also wanted to let you know, next Sunday, I'm giving the White Stone ceremony to the Unity Church, and they actually meet. And so I have some white stones. Whatever is left over, I can take into the office at UUUC. And if you want to get a new one, you're welcome to take one. I'll leave them with Kirsty, whatever's left after next Sunday.
Great. Although those of us who were there were blessed to receive them. So we're special. Ha ha.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So JC.
As Donna and others were talking about the vibrations and why people would change. And I think about this past year, this pandemic is worldwide. So everybody living on this earth has been affected by the requirements of it relative to being part of a community.
Yeah.
And we don't know the half of it yet, but hello, how big a lesson did we need? And have we paid attention? And have we let us make up our own minds about how we plan to act as part of a community? Just when you think of what it does to a person and how people, I mean, like the lady I read about today who lives in a retirement home and is sewing masks and has done so for over a year, took a time off to have COVID-19, got well, got back to the sewing. I mean, this lady has an intention and it ain't going to be swayed by this. So am I that strong? Do I have that strong of attention? I mean,
Yes, you do.
you
Yes,
know,
you do.
Michael, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's amazing who turns out to be role models.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the 95-year lady who
Yes.
got over and went back and has now made 1,700 masks.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Good point. Julianne.
If any of you would like to join in the Global Coherence Initiative meditation session, the next one will be Wednesday, January 6th, and the special focus will be broadcast love. And the optimum times to join, if you want to make sure there are other people in the world meditating at the same time, will be 4 a.m., noon, and 8 p.m.
And that's through and Julian, that's through the what? The Global Initiative?
A Global Coherence Initiative, yes.
And
That's a subsidiary of HeartMath Institute.
Right. Mhm.
if you feel so inclined, Julianne, would you mind posting that to our Facebook page?
I will, yeah.
Yeah, because
That'd be
I'm sure
great.
there's more than a few people who would like to give that a go. I was going to say, one of the things I wanted to bring up was, in your talk, if you want to get 15 people together, maybe once things are settled down, to meditate on peace, or, it's like, let's get this experiment going, see if we can
Exactly.
make a change. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then that's why these coming together through HeartMath and all that is so powerful, because it goes well beyond, the square root of 1%.
right.
And so that's why they're so powerful.
Martha might get the last
Well,
question.
I just wanted to ask, Donna, I thought I had the text of your service, because you often get that out, and it's someplace and it hasn't gotten out to us. So if it was sent to the office, perhaps, I know we're having trouble with
Yeah.
the office email, and I'm wondering if it could get to maybe Michael, so that Michael could send it out to the population, because I guess Kirsty's not able to do that. Is that right, Laleen?
Yes, the problem with the email is we're receiving email but cannot send.
Yeah.
So she can send it from her personal email to Michael, and Michael could send it. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
why.
because I was looking for that. I wanted to read it before we,
Mhm.
after watching the service last night, I was hoping to read it before we had the discussion, but yeah.
Yeah.
I can send it to
Thank
you,
you.
Michael, right after this. if you'd
Okay,
like.
that'll work, and then I'll send it out to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
And I am absolutely thrilled to see the number of people that came in. Donna,
Me
this
too.
this service, not to get too technical, but this service did really well. I was checking the metrics right after posting it, and so it showed a lot of enthusiasm. So that's cool.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
We need it.
Yeah. Can you send us off with a closing thought?
Yes. I really, really, truly want you to know how powerful you are. I want you to take back your power so that your life can be beautiful, and you can then share all of that beauty with the world. That's how it works. Just be your beautiful, powerful self, and all your dreams will come true. I love you all, and thank you so much for this wonderful discussion.
Well, I know I speak for everyone when I say we love you right back, and thank you for another great Sunday, and can't wait to do it again in 1 week. Take care, everyone.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.